You haven't got a clue. There is no clear thinking, no coherent policy, and no logic to what you're proposing. And if you're going to preach, which is what you're doing, look in the mirror first, sort your own house out. What you're trying to create is something very dangerous, because false states, like the Soviet Union, only ever break up in one or two ways. They break up in peaceful divorce, like Czechoslovakia, which I hope that this organisation breaks up into, or in bloody revolution, like Yugoslavia, which I fear very much indeed. We cannot control who comes from the EU and who doesn't, and this is fundamentally wrong. It's bad, and it's putting people out of work. And I'll give you an example. The taxi driver who drove me to the airport this morning was a bricklayer who's been laid off as a result of Polish people coming onto the site, undercutting British workers, and now he's driving a taxi. That cannot be right. Politicians have hijacked the environmentalist agenda. It's been cynically used to raise taxes, to exert control, and now it's being used by the European Union to justify your own existence. This week we've also had the spectacle of one of the leading climate research centres in the UK, which advises the government, being caught altering data and stifling debate. It's an absolute disgrace. So I look forward to Copenhagen, when the political class is sitting round the table, awkwardly failing to mention the giant elephant in the room, which is that the globe has not actually warmed for the past 10 years. Now, back in the UK, we've also had the spectacle of scientists trying to suggest that one of the coldest Novembers we've seen in the last 100 years was actually caused by global warming. I mean, do these people think we were born yesterday? Evidence has to be studied and deciphered, but politics is a quicker game, and politics is running ahead of the science. That is where the problem lies. And the fact of the matter is that the globe actually isn't warming. It hasn't warmed since 1998. So, I mean, the game's up. People are finding you out. That you've got a problem, and what you're doing is you're conning people, and it's a scam, and the people are finding you out. You said that people who are climate change sceptics are deniers. Now, I'm sorry, you, being German and all, I'm sure you know the connotations that the term denier has, and I think you should call us sceptics, actually, because we are. And also Mr Macmillan Scott, who said he'd been to the airport to pick up Sir Paul. I mean, it's a bit of a con, isn't it? You know, it's do as I say and not as I do. You know, so, look, as a bit of a protest, we in the UK Independence Party are holding a barbecue out on Plas Lux. You're all invited. It's called All You Need Is Meat, and we'll be celebrating meat at 12 o'clock today. Please allow me to speak frankly as one Lancastrian to another, because this just isn't going very well, is it? It really isn't. It seems as if you're stumbling from one crisis to another. So much so that the British Foreign Secretary had to write you a letter this week asking you to buck up, to get on your game. It was said that your appointment, made by the Commission, would stop the traffic in Tokyo and Washington. But you haven't even been able to appoint the ambassador to Washington, because old Barroso did you up like a kipper. But Baroness Ashton, you're the highest paid female politician in the world. You're paid more than Frau Merkel, you're paid more than Hillary Clinton. It's a 24-hour job. Now, to top it all off, yesterday it was reported, let me finish please, yesterday it was reported that you're being provided with a Learjet. To get 300,000 miles per year you're expected to do. That would get you to the moon, and most people now would like you to stay there. I think that shale gas is probably the most exciting development in the sphere of energy since the discovery of North Sea oil. We can become more self-sufficient and not so reliant on the Middle East and Russia for our energy supply.
We didn't get a response about expert reports that have been done on the impact on the use of shale gas and its provocation of micro earthquakes.
Well, let's not call them earthquakes, because they're not. They're tiny tremors. So let's have none of this green nonsense trying to overblow things and create scare stories. Just because you want to discuss immigration doesn't mean that you're a racist, and in fact we have a ban in our constitution on anybody who's been a member of the National Front or the BNP or any racist organisation. They cannot join UKIP. We're the only political party that has that. What is interesting is that Angela Merkel has swung behind this man to get the job today, and the last time I looked, Angela Merkel was a woman. So
Mr Sarkozy didn't always think that.
We give
we will give 16.3 billion a year to the European Union. We'll get just under half of that back, and then they will tell us how we can spend our own money. That is unacceptable and it's wrong. What I want us to do is to look towards India. I want us to look towards Australia, Canada, the big emerging nations, the countries with fast-growing economies. That's where our future lies.
The other parties are proven chances. They can't be trusted with your money. If we're going to keep these voters who could drift back to the Lib Lab Con, we need a radical manifesto. A manifesto that will appeal to all types across the political spectrum, old Labour and traditional Tory alike. Because they want the same things, you know. They want strong but sensible immigration policies. They want freedom from crime, which blights our communities. They want education by ability and not postcode and wealth. And they want independence for our great nation.
We can't go round being the world's policeman all the time. Do we know who's evil and who's not? This is the problem. We've done this in Libya, we've made this mistake before, we've gone in, we've armed these rebels, they've overthrown Gaddafi, and now we find out that actually there's 140 tribes in Libya, all with scores to settle, all armed to the teeth. Look, is Libya necessarily a better place now than it was under Gaddafi? We've got human rights abuses right across the board. Is Iraq necessarily a safer place? Is Egypt, with the Christian community, being persecuted? The hotel which I'm staying in London at the moment, I couldn't believe that the staff, all of the waitresses, one was Congolese, one was Latvian, one was Polish, and one was Estonian. We need to get our own young people back into work. The real issue with our economy at the moment is actually national debt. That's more important. In the hour that this programme takes place, our national debt would have grown by 18.5 million. That's 18.5 million every hour. It's about 450 million a day. So by 2014, we could have a national debt of 1.4 trillion. I think you'd have to be mad to claim that there isn't a significant underclass in this country. And there is. I worked with well, I'm telling you, there is a significant underclass in this country, and it's been born out of a benefits and a welfare system, which, you know, when Beveridge,
it's born out of unemployment. There are 4 million people in this country looking for full-time work.
All right, one
million people looking for work.
You've had your say. Let him reply to the attacks you made on him.
He didn't mean it to be set up like this. Now, what do we do with Savile himself? Well, his gravestone has been removed. We've had street names which have been taken down. I would suggest the next move, how to deal with Jimmy Savile, would be let's strip him of his knighthood. It'll take a change in the law, let's do it, strip him of his knighthood, and also let's get the Catholic Church to do with his papal knighthood, to do away with his papal knighthood to boot, because that man needs to be punished even in death. Our own sovereign Parliament, our own elected representatives have voted to say no to votes to prisoners, and actually we're being told we have to do it by a court which actually isn't even in this country, by judges who are faceless. We're projected to go on and win the 2014 European election. Well, all right. European election. Let's see where we are in 2015, because it could be very interesting indeed.